Okay, Mishlei 22:10, new pasuk, old topic. Garish Leitz v'yitze madon v'yishbos din v'kalon. This is one of the rhyming ones. That's delightful. All right, how do we translate it? It's a little awkward to translate.
That's like Garish from like the same shorish as Girishin,
Yeah.
like divorce.
Well, divorce is the secondary meaning.
Okay.
What does Gershon literally mean?
Yeah, I figured it was a meaning from a different word.
Wait, what do you say, Sean?
Erase?
No. It means
Separate.
kick out or banish. Yeah, so let's use banish, okay? Or drive out, maybe. I don't know. Garish Leitz, the Yete Mado.
Banish, Leitz and I don't know what Madon is, but maybe Madon will emerge.
Yete. I see why you're saying emerge. Yeah, so it's actually anyone know what Madon is?
Madon.
Yeah.
Judge.
It is related to that word, but I don't know of a translation that incorporates that idea into it. Madon is I would translate as strife or quarreling. Okay, we'll see what the other meforshim say. So and quarreling will the two R's quarreling will depart. Okay, the yishbos din v'kalon.
And judgment and disgrace will be quelled.
Okay, that's good. Quell. That's going on. Okay, judgment and disgrace will be quelled. I like that. Okay, so Matsudas ציון says Yishbos is inyan habitl, right? So negated. Quelled is, I think, a good translation. Kamo Shevis Nogis, Shavis Nogis. I don't know what that is. Sadion says din is his dinus, which is a modern Hebrew word. Yeah.
What is quelled?
To like
Down?
yeah, made to cease or like made to be quiescent. So, yeah. I gotta look up this modern Hebrew word his dinus. His. Oh, okay. So his dinus is arguing. Okay, so he translates din. Where's the din? So din. So judgment. So let's say or arguing. Okay, and disgrace will be quelled. And then okay, so this part I was not so confident in, but I'll tell you what I got. Oh, I forgot to look at the art scroll and living nach. Okay, so tarich limimikna. So this is that's just regular translation. So banish a scoffer. The apek litigrana, and I think tigrana. So tigra does not mean tiger. Tigra means. Hold on, I looked it up. Tigra. Let's see if I can get this. Let's look at it with the yud, maybe. If it's with the yud or not. Tig. Tigra. Yeah, so tigra. Oh, it spells without the yud. Okay. Well, I don't know how Jasper has it. Yeah. So okay. So tagar. Okay. So tigar is heat, jealousy, partiality. Tigra, strife, contest, complaint. Okay, but then R says tigrana, right? Is that what R says? Yeah, so tigrana. So tigrana, it says here, is a quarrelsome man. Okay, so or a quarrelsome person, right? Pass that to Moshe. Okay, so and a quarrelsome person will depart. Okay, so I think that's the translation there. And then V'yivtal Diana Vitsiara. And I think that last part is the same. I was just looking at Tsiara before. I think it's like related to Tsar. I think so. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So the main thing is that he's taking it as a person. Okay, as opposed to a phenomenon. Yeah. Okay, so art scroll I forgot to look at, but we can look at the art scroll. Anyone? Oh, Ariel, can you grab my art scroll Tanakh? Thank you. Alter says, I don't think we have living nach here for Mishlei, but okay, let's see here. There's the scoffer and strife will depart. That's Alter. Oh, did I not translate? I guess I forgot to type in the second half also. It was a little bit of a rush this morning. Okay, then Mishlei in Art Scroll language says 22:10. Drive away the scoffer, and strife will depart, and judgment and shame will cease. Okay, cease is also good. Yeah. Let's use cease because that's a more, even though I like the word quell a lot, will cease. I think that's a better translation of bittul. Will cease. Yeah. Okay. Let's just stick it with this. Okay, and then we'll just stick with our translation here. Okay, questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the Targum K'suvim,
Yeah.
it's banish a scoffer, and then that person who's someone.
Well, it's unclear if it's that person or another person. I mean, it sounds like it's that person, right? Like,
So
yeah.
That's one question. And the second one.
Okay, so how are you formulating the question?
Is it that person?
Okay,
that's
so
being banished.
So let's put it, what is the relationship between the Leitz, the Leitz and Madon? Okay, especially so according to the Targum, are these the same person or not? And yeah.
Right. And the way we translated it in the beginning,
Yeah.
it seems like it's not. It seems like it's more like a categorical thing.
Right.
like
According
judgment.
to us, what is the relationship between, I guess, let's say quarreling and the Leitz. Can you pass this to? Yeah. Okay.
Is garbage going on just Leitz or Leitz and din? Like, are you banishing Leitz and bottom goes out? Or are you banishing Leitz and bottom goes out and din goes out and column goes out?
Okay. Yeah. So let's okay. So let's say how many. How should we phrase that question here?
What exactly is going
This
on?
question is, so the action is telling you is banish the Leitz, but then the question is, are these two effects or is it like a chain?
My question is,
No.
is it telling you to banish the Leitz, or is it telling you to banish Leitz and bottom goes out, or banish din and column is both?
Something's
Are you
not
asking
clicking.
if Garish goes
Or-
on both halves of the pasuk?
Is it?
Is that- yeah, is that what you're
effects of
asking?
Garbage, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, right. So that's what I'm, definitely Garish is the only thing that you're being told to do, right? But then I thought you were asking is it just outlining two different effects of Madon goes out and then din and column go out? Or is it saying that Leitz is banished, then Madon will go out, and then as a result of that, then din and column will cease?
No, I think it has to be the first way, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So let's just say, like, what is the cause and effect relationship between banishing the Leitz and the other effects listed in the pasuk? Okay, in other words, does the so are there two separate effects, namely Madon departing and din v'kalon ceasing, or are these two effects a chain? I'm just gonna say chain. We'll say that we know what that means. Yeah, Sean.
What's the relationship between quarreling or Madon and din? Are
Mhm.
they the same thing,
Okay.
or is there a specific nuance that's different between them?
Yeah.
Because judgment I can see as different. Arguing, quarreling seem very
Yeah.
similar, and if they are the same thing, so then why repeat?
Okay. Right. Yeah. And so that was what I was saying before when we were translating it, that it shares a shoresh, but it seems to be different. But the fact that, like, you could use a lot of words for fighting, so the fact that it's using one word for fighting and then another word for din that has the same shoresh means that presumably there's a relationship between them. Yeah. So how are they similar or different? Yeah.
How do you banish a Leitz?
Yeah, that's a good question. How does one banish a Leitz, right? And then, like, what does that even consist of?
Right. It used to be like saying, like, if you kick him out of the town, like,
Right.
you stop talking to him.
Yeah. Does it just mean like physically Yeah.
What's the difference between Yetze and Yishbos?
Okay, yeah. What is the difference between Yetze and Yishbos? And I'm going to say, if anything, right? Because it's entirely possible that is. It's entirely possible that's a what do you call a just synonyms. Yeah.
Subcategory of 4. Is this exclusive to banishing the Leitz, or is there some
Ah,
other
Okay.
thing that you can do that will
Does
result in the same thing?
Does this only work if you entirely banish the Leitz, or are these effects subject to degree with lesser forms of banishment, I should say, right? Lesser forms of banishment. In other words, like if you do, is it that if you do anything less than full banishing, then you're going to have all these problems still? Or is it going to be that if you don't banish him, but you like muzzle him, then you'll have less fighting, and et cetera, et cetera. Yeah.
And is this like the Leitz in your life, or is it just like a one account on this?
Yeah. Okay. So let's ask what the scenario is, right? What scenario?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
about to say, what scale are we talking about? Like, is this in like interpersonal relationships? Is this on national level? Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah. Okay. So what scenario are we talking about here? And I'll be more specific, which is like, what is the prior relationship between you and the Leitz, right? Like, is there an actual relationship? Is he just someone in your environment, right? Yeah, and I think this is kind of also going to have to address who is the audience, right? Yeah, I think this is the same question.
Yeah, like, who's the banisher?
Yeah. Right.
And then, then what's the,
Yeah, you'd think that banishment needs to have some, I don't know if the word authority is correct, but you need to have some agency, right? Such that you can, like if you're an employee and there's a fellow employee who is a Leitz, I mean, can you banish them, or is it only going to be if like you have
also the power.
managerial thing? What? Power. Yeah. Okay. Oh, we didn't ask what the colon is, right? What is colon? Disgrace.
We also have to go to Leitz.
We didn't in this context. Yeah. Okay. So what is the Leitz? What is a Leitz? Late in this context.
And also, in this scenario, do we recognize it? He's a Leitz.
Yes, definitely, because I think you wouldn't be able to apply it if you didn't recognize
So
it was
the
late.
question is, if you apply, so if you recognize the Leitz, what's keeping you from banishing it?
Yeah, so I think the Hava Amina question is a good question here, right? So what is the Hava Amina? Like, why do we need to hear this? Is it that we think we can achieve these results without banishing him? Is it that we don't see the connection between him and these phenomena?
And
Something else?
And also, where's the judgment coming from? And
Yeah, do we not ask what the din? Oh, no, we asked what the relationship is between Madon and din. Yeah, let's just list this as a separate question. What does din mean in this context? Yeah.
I mean, and also like a disgrace from whom?
Yeah. Okay. So it was a disgrace from whom? Yeah. Okay. I feel like we pretty much covered it, right? All right, a lot of stuff that we need to figure out here. So I think probably just the first move before we even figure stuff out is just to review a definition of the Leitz, since we did talk about this a lot this year. Well, we literally did read pasuk about Leitz this year. What's your working? Okay, well, this is one of the few pasukim where Mishlei itself says the definition, right? Anyone remember Mishlei's definition? There's one pasuk that like defines in definition terms what a Leitz is.
And seed, you hear late Shimo.
Yeah.
What's that
Okay.
difference? Yeah.
Exactly. So let's see. I probably have this as a file. Leitz. All right. Rabbeinu Yonah on Leitz complete. Sorry, this is slow. Yeah. So this was it 2114? 2117? Let's find it. Hold on. Low system resources. That's how I feel. Okay, let's see.
Applications. Goodbye, kidney.
24. If you want to find it, Isaac, let me know. This is extremely slow scrolling. Did I put it at the beginning maybe? Because it was the oh man, this is so slow. Okay, moving slowly. You know what? It's gonna be easier if I just go on the Torah, even though it's also slow. Leitz, sorry, Zaid, here.
Yeah, it's 21, 24.
21 what?
24.
21, 24. Okay, that was the one in my mind. Okay, hold on. I do want to find the Ravinian because he gave a good thing here. 21, 24. There we go. Okay, Zaid Yahir Leitshmo Osef Evrazadon. So a Zaid he translates as Lashon Zaid. I'm just going to use Ravinian because I think that was our most fruitful source of concept of this. Kolal achzarius v'sinas habrios v'hasimcha le'edam madrishos rasam. So Zaid encompasses cruelty, hatred of people, rejoicing at their misfortune, and seeking out their harm. Okay, so the best translation of Zaid in this context is malice or maliciousness. Okay, like I think it's more than aggression. It's not aggression. Aggression is more of a neutral thing. This is like you delight in seeing people suffer, so that's Zaid. And then Yahir is Bal Gaiva, is haughtiness or ego. So, and he says that so and then Oseb Ebrazadon is he acts in the wrath of malice. So we don't actually need that part for our purposes, but these two qualities of the malice and haughtiness. So let's read this part also. He says, the explanation is the guy who has these two qualities, malice and haughtiness, Leitshmo, his name is Leitz. The Leitz includes these. He speaks Lashon Hara, he mocks, he scoffs at people. That's the utmost act of malice. He will damage with his speech, he'll damage his friend with his speech and shame them and insult them and diminish their stature, not for any profit or benefit. Now, he obviously gets pleasure out of this, but it means without any like he's not doing it. He's not just like doing character assassination to his competitor so that he gets more business. He's doing it because he enjoys it, And this is worse than the guy who does it for money, because the guy who's doing it for money, like, okay, once he gets his money, then he's going to leave the guy alone. This is like a real bully. And if you join this quality with arrogance and haughtiness, when he intends to blemish his fellows, so that no one is superior to him. He also out of his haughtiness, he will blemish and degrade virtues, meaning he'll make fun of actual like perfections and virtues, like make fun of like midos and tochacha and musar and mishlei. He doesn't see in himself any one of these blemishes. And this is a key part here. So if he saw his own blemishes, he would be too ashamed to mock other people. Okay, then they give analogies here. Yeah, so that's like I don't remember what we had in terms of our own conceptual definition, but that's like a working definition from the pasuk itself.
Malice and haughtiness.
Malice and haughtiness, yeah.
Well, it's supposed to make a lot of sense.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I feel like that should theoretically open things up, right?
I guess the haughtiness question still is a pretty strong one.
Yeah. Well, should we start by stating the obvious then? So like,
this guy sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple.
Right. So I think your intuition's right. I think we need to see what the havamina is. Like, right. Why do we need to hear this?
I mean, the havamina is simply that, it could be that you need him because he may have other, qualities that you may need to leverage.
Okay, that's interesting. Right. Meaning, so you do a trade-off, like.
Yeah.
Like.
It's like
he's like a top dog.
Yeah. Right.
It's like you will never invite him to your house for like dinner.
Yeah. Right.
but
Let
you
us-
want to put him to work because it'll make a crap load of money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. So that's definitely a possibility, right? That you think that there's a trade-off. So you have another one, or you
Yeah, I
want
was
to?
thinking
Hold on a second. Let's just pursue this one though, because I just want to keep track of the different approaches. So then, what is this guy? So this guy has a cheshbon saying like, okay, so I'll I can use this this malice and aggression, like it'll be good. And so what is the pasuk telling him then? It's like why doesn't that work? Or
well, I mean, it doesn't work because ultimately, no one's gonna want to deal with a guy like him. It's gonna affect you directly.
okay, so then going back to the Havmina then. So why does he think that? Like, what's his mistake?
The mistake on the individual hiring him
Yeah.
is that he thinks that by his one quality in a different area will help him.
Mhm.
But in reality, it's not true. It's the whole Gavra himself.
Okay.
And like this quality of being a scoffer, like it's gonna affect everything else.
Yeah. So the vibe we gotta develop this, but the vibe I'm getting from the puzzle is that it's a package deal. Like that's that like if you think you can get like this Leitz without the madon and the din and the kolon, like or without the madon, din and kolon that affects you in the negative ways. Like that's what it's trying to break. Like so, the only way to get to not have those. So don't think you can have the Leitz without the madon. It's saying the only way to not have the madon is you get rid of the Leitz entirely.
But
Yeah.
Ariel's point, it seems to me like Alvina could be that you can get like Ariel saying certain qualities and maybe try to work with the late owners part.
Yeah.
Or even you're going to use the late owners part to like try to use that to your advantage.
Mhm.
And you're gonna think that there could be like good lates and bad lates, and you can like get the good lates.
Yeah.
But like the puzzle kind of trying to tell you that there is no good lates or bad lates. It's like all bad lates, and that it's just gonna create this like atmosphere of like a quarreling thing.
Right. Yeah. It's the word chaotic evil definitely comes to mind
Yeah.
for the Leitz. Yeah, Isaiah?
This is a little bit different.
Okay, so hold on just a second. Then so let's give an example of this and then flesh it out, and then Yeshua will be next. One example I think that people actually like did have this was very, very talented Leitz was Trump, right? He was very good at like mocking things in ways that would stick, but that quality leads to picking fights and to starting other things like that are that like you cannot necessarily control, so like the illusion that you can somehow harness a personality like this and use it in directed ways is that's just not the nature of the personality. And to the contrary, I think again I don't know if this is specifically talking to someone who's in it stands to reason this might be talking to someone who has power, right? Because we said that you can't really banish someone. So the fantasy is I can harness this person. Well, guess what? How is this person going to relate to having authority exercised over them? Not good, right? Like they don't want to be controlled. So it's even going to interfere with your ability to like in other words, when you try to harness this person, that's going to go against his ego, and then he'll turn all of his guns on you. Yeah.
It's just because it's the movie that always comes to mind with these particular the Goodfellas.
Yeah.
There's like a guy.
I know it's a
that-
classic, but yeah.
Huh?
I haven't seen it. I know it's a classic. Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And I watched it before I even like did Mishlei.
Yeah.
So like now it just like clicks
Yeah.
in. There's this one guy who's like one of like the henchman kind of guys.
Yeah.
Who's like half and half, and he's just he's totally elate.
Mhm.
And like he's got all these good qualities that they try to use, and then he ends up like just like flying off what's it called?
Handle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So could we then now just define though why these specific things, and then also see if we can differentiate between Yetze Madon. The questions I have now are, so I think there's like the main idea, right? The question is, what is Madon, Din, and Kolon? And then is it differentiating between Yetze Madon and then Yishbos Din V'Kolon? Like it sounds like a nuance within this idea.
I guess you could say that by driving him out,
Yeah.
there's a difference between I guess you could say that he embodies the
Yeah.
quarreling, and that you've departed him,
Yeah.
but that still like leaves behind like remnants of like everything that he stirred up.
Mhm.
And then eventually over time, that's why I'm kind of seeing it as a chain.
Yeah.
Then when both the judgment and the argument, stop,
Yeah.
then like I'm seeing it like silt, like going down
Yeah,
the
yeah.
water. And like that's how it'll cease. Like
Okay.
just getting rid of like the source doesn't get rid of everything that, like I said, like he stirred up.
Right. So just to state
Yeah.
the I think the approach that you're taking in terms of the two Madon on the one hand and Din and Kal on the other hand. So Madon sounds like the quarreling that he instigates,
Yeah.
and then Din and Kalon is like the effects in the populace afterwards. And so like I think so just to articulate why you need to say that is, or like why Mishlei needs to say this, I think is like you look around. Let's say you look at your office. Let's say you're the boss or whatever, right? You look around your office and you notice that people are fighting all the time about petty things, you know. So you might think that quality of them fighting comes from them, you know, not realizing that it's because the presence of the Leitz in this environment feeds that sort of like atmosphere, which I think we need to define a little bit more. And so that's what the second half of the pasuk is telling you, is that if you want to get rid of this Din and Kalon in the populace, like you got to get rid of the Leitz himself.
But also don't think that just getting rid of him is going to get rid of everything that's going on, because he has stirred stuff up. So that's why I'm saying the second half of the pasuk we need, because you think that just getting rid of him is going to solve all your problems. But
Right.
like he's like.
So I am saying, and we I think we need to like explore this. I am saying that whatever the Din and Kalon is referring to is something that will automatically cease once he's gone. So I'm not saying it's going to solve all your problems. I'm saying that whatever the pasuk is describing as Din and Kalon, but we have to figure that out. Yeah.
I'm saying like you. I think that if you get rid of the Leitz, everything else will
Yeah.
get rid. Remove.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry.
But and just to go on the second half of the puzzle really quickly. I think that the judgment and the disgrace. Well, like if you have a scoffer, he'll bring certain things out in you.
Yeah.
That's not that's not you.
Yeah.
He'll basically make you into a quasi scoffer because you're gonna
Right.
do the same thing back, because that's just like the nature of.
Yeah, I mean, he needs an audience in order to operate, and so when he is making fun of people, so you're gonna either have to you're gonna be in this awkward position where you either have to, you're gonna be pressured to agree or like disagree, and if you agree with him, so then he's bringing out scoffing in you, and then if you disagree with him, he's gonna scoff at you. He's gonna mock you.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying also more that he's going to bring certain negative characteristic traits out from you as well,
Mhm.
and that's a little disgraceful.
Uh-huh.
From the observer watching a scoffer interact with someone else, like the risk of an individual interacting with the scoffer is that he'll go down to his level.
Yeah.
And ultimately that also has an impact on the world, and people can view that as disgraceful.
So you're learning disgrace is objective disgrace, meaning that it's going to bring out bad qualities in you that are disgraceful, as opposed to like
in a
disgrace, like him
corporation.
disgracing you.
Yeah, in a corporation or in a friendship,
Right.
or people will associate you with him.
Right. Yeah.
So can I add on to this? And then
Yeah.
Okay. So instead of agree or disagree, I was thinking of engaging or not engaging.
Right.
And not in that he brings out these qualities in you, but your environment has a lot of impact on you. So if you engage within his framework, it kind of brings you down, even without bringing out Leitz qualities. It just makes it a better environment. I was thinking of a different how I mean, and not that you would use him, but that you might have this thought of, I could just not engage him or like avoid him,
Right.
and it would avoid judgment, arguing, and disgrace, and I just don't have to encounter those things. So I don't need to completely banish him. I'll just not engage.
Right. I think both of these approaches are forcing us. I think we really need to get a clear idea of how he affects the environment.
I was
Yeah.
gonna ask, what's the setting in is it the same office space kind of?
So I think it's speaking to someone in a position of power. So then it's him speaking to anyone in society that has these qualities, and then because he doesn't need to necessarily engage in this person, he thinks that he doesn't need to kick him out, but he impacts society.
I mean, I think you do have to say this is talking about a specific scenario. You can't just banish people from society. Like it doesn't work like that. Like it has to be like in a home, in a workplace. And
What's all like how big is this society? Is this like a family?
right. I think we have to be talking about some closed system that you have power to
Unless
affect
you're like
the.
the ruler of the city or something like that, in which case you maybe could.
Yeah, but I feel like that's like probably not the typical audience. Yeah. So I think we need a clear idea, because we're saying a lot of true things, but I think we don't have clarity. Yeah.
mean, I had maybe a slightly different version
Okay.
of the Havamina.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that helps, but like maybe the thing that you would think is that the Leitz, his effects are local to him. Like he is a bad person, he's going to stop people, and you might fight with him when he stops, but that doesn't necessarily bring down everyone in the town office, whatever. it is,
Yeah.
To be like worse people themselves.
Mhm.
But the reality is that his fighting is going to cause you to fight with them. You're going to have to like get back. It's going to bring everyone to like bring bad news into everyone.
Yeah.
Kind of like what we were saying before. So that's the truth of the situation. But your Havamina is that like, oh, he's a bad person, but he'll just be a bad person and he'll stay over there. But it
Yeah.
won't affect everyone.
Okay. All right. That's good. Yeah. I remember. I have something to add to that, but
Okay. Slightly also, I think, different approach.
Okay.
I think Yoshua and Isaiah are going in the route in terms of that there's some other way to mitigate this person's effect on you.
yeah.
I think a different Havamina is that the only way in which you can resolve things with the Leitz is to banish him, right?
That's a
Which-
Havamina you're saying.
Which is the Havamina, meaning you would think that you can resolve and correct the Leitz using other means,
Mhm.
right? And this pasuk is telling you, no, specifically it's only through banishment, because there's something unique to banishment in terms of how the Leitz, I'm presuming that the Leitz requires people to be around him to really have things to fuel what makes
Right.
the Leitz.
Well,
And
Yeah.
the second you remove him,
Danielle, the other Leitz.
yeah,
Right.
right, and he likes, he thrives on quarreling and disorder
Yeah.
and all these things. And if you can remove him from anything in which he can engage in that,
Yeah.
then that's going to, in the end,
Diffuse. Yeah.
be the only way in which you can,
Uh-huh.
because the Leitz will always find some way to create a quarrel
Yeah.
or thing, and the only way that you can stop that is by removing him from any
Yeah.
environment that has that property.
Okay. That's good.
Are you saying how to help the Leitz or how to help the environment?
Yeah. I don't think you can help the Leitz.
By removing his source of fuel, so to speak.
That's
I mean, it might help him temporarily, but I mean, no, there's not going to change his Leitz qualities. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you say?
on Isaiah's point with the thinking that you can be, I guess, kind of around him, but he's not gonna poison things.
Right.
Definitionally, though, I mean, I guess at which point do you know he's a Leitz? Is it when you first start interacting with him? Do you realize after the fact? You're
I'm
like,
not
"Ah,
saying
I'm
you won't
screwed."
realize that he's a Leitz. It's just that you'll know, but you won't think that everyone else will be sort of poisoned by him.
Right, so my question on that is that, given the definition of a Leitz as someone who like thrives on that kind of thing, if he's going to need that to survive, let's say, then wouldn't that inevitably like
No, I
happen?
think,
Meaning-
no, he's not, I'm just saying he's not gonna affect the character of the people around him.
Right.
Meaning
He's going to
fight
harm
with them,
people, but he's not going to
harm
make them
He's
into
not
worse
gonna-
people.
Yeah,
I see.
exactly.
So you're saying that, okay.
That's
So you're saying he's gonna.
That's what I think din is. It's like,
Yeah.
the din is, they're actually gonna be judged based on effects that he is causing.
Oh, that's interesting interpretation of Din. Yeah.
How they're gonna fight with him, they're gonna be more, their personalities are gonna change because they're gonna be fighting all the time, or like, they're gonna be focused on that and not focused on,
But isn't that bringing out a
should be
negative
focused.
quality in them?
so
Yeah.
eventually they
That's-
get
yeah.
the quality of Leitz on their own. I mean, I'm not saying like I think Leitz could maybe spread.
So
Right.
it is affecting them.
It is effective.
He's saying
Yeah.
how, you know,
The Havamina knows that it would.
Like, is that, yeah, I mean,
Right. I mean, like, I'll give another example just because I think this is a good one. So in Shalhevet, then we were very selective in terms of the students we admitted in terms of like having good mitos, and like, not that this is unique to girls' schools, but in girls' schools, a lot of girls' schools have a lot of cliques and social unhealthy social dynamics. And the interesting thing is that we had a very rigorous process in terms of who to accept in like Lechatchila. But then occasionally we would get these situations where like a student would come in mid-year, and like from a different school, like a transfer student. Obviously we were selective about that also, but it was very different than like the initial like interview process. And it would be interesting that like, let's say you had a group of like 10 girls in a class who were all like got along with each other, all it takes is one person to come in and start, let's say like spreading gossip about so-and-so. And then it just triggers all these other dynamics that then spread, and like, there's this thought that if you have one bad person, it's just going to be like a quantitative increase. Like now we had 10 good people and now we're gonna have 10 good people and one bad person, but the nature of the Leitz is to poison relationships, which then will bring out all these other negative qualities and jealousy and like, all this other stuff.
One bad egg that spoils the bunch or something.
I think one bad apple.
One bad apple.
Yeah, right. Because eggs don't spread their rot, but apples do.
I
Yeah.
was like, I don't know how
Yeah.
it works. But,
Yeah.
so something I was thinking about earlier with the Havamina is that like in some way you'll think that you're able to control it or point him in a certain direction.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking like with Trump or someone like that, and the good fellas. And what you don't realize is that like, firstly, it just takes he's a hair trigger to just like point at you.
Yeah.
But that it's gonna inevitably get to you. Like he's just gonna be like shooting at everybody.
Yeah.
Like sitting on the table and then makes a joke and then you laugh and you're like, oh, what are you laughing at?
Yeah.
You think he's bald?
Yeah.
You're
Right.
blind.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
like going crazy.
Yeah. So I just to go back and put this into some framework here, I think structurally speaking, I still like this idea that there's like first order Leitz harm and then second order Leitz harm. I don't know what we want to call this, but like first order Leitz harm is the direct harm of his Leitz behavior, and then second order Leitz harm is that he brings out bad behavior and bad qualities in others.
Yeah.
So the madon is, I think, a term that encompasses. Madon is referring, so what we said of the arrogance and the malice, Madon is referring to like that phenomenon, like him bad mouthing people and like and starting fights and stuff like that because he's like insulting people. Okay. Din and kalon is the effect on other people. And I want to just like get that clear. So I think the two routes for Din is harder, but the two routes for kalon are like what Ariel was saying, like objectively speaking, if you have bad midos, that's disgraceful. And then the other one is that the kalon is shame, that like, that's one of the tools he uses, is he like makes people, he shames people, like he makes people feel self-conscious because like they're fat or ugly or like stupid or, so I'm of two minds as to which direction to go. Yeah. And Din, I think, is also a question. Yeah.
Well, I thought two routes for Din.
Okay.
One is that there are actual like court cases that occur because the Leitz is around and he causes, judgment to need to take place.
Yeah.
And when you remove him, there's less judging that needs to be done.
Okay. And I'm just gonna expand that. I don't think this is a different idea, but punishments, penalties, like like other like mishpat type phenomena,
Right.
not necessarily court cases.
The other one is
Yeah.
that it's like the scoffer thing, that like the people will be judged by Hashem
Mhm.
when he's around more than when he's not around.
Yeah. So both of those I hear, but I don't like that because it doesn't feel like the pasuk is talking in those terms. Like, the first one is more likely than the second one, I think. Yeah. But yeah.
I mean, arguing is pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, and I think that's why Sadigon puts it, arguing is just so much more in line with the terminology we've been using.
And then the disgrace could also be, I think this might have been Arnold saying too, I'm not sure. Not necessarily interpersonal disgrace, but like you wake up in the morning or, one day the Leitz isn't there and then you're still acting in a certain way and you're like, oh, what do I become?
Yeah.
Like it's like personal disgrace also.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I'm looking for is like, I want two clean categories,
Do you remember when we had that Mishlei Shabbaton?
Yeah.
That's what we were doing.
With the answering the seal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For some
Yeah,
reason,
we did Mishlei
like,
Shabbaton last year. We were going to do another one this year, but we didn't have enough Shabbos. It was,
we were planning on.
we were trying to get the ball rolling. Yeah. Let me show you the pasuk.
You want to be around all the girls?
What? I don't know what a Mishlei Shabbaton is. I thought it was a Shabbaton where you learn Mishlei and Mishlei was.
It's an exclusive Monday night Mishlei.
Where is it? I thought it was in 25. Oh no, it's 26. Here we go. Al tan ksil kivalto pentishve lo gamata. Don't respond to a fool according to his foolishness, lest you be equated to him. Answer, respond to a fool according to his foolishness, lest he be wise in his own eyes.
That's not what a fool, but I don't know why, but I feel like you can apply the same thing over here. Like you'll, what is that? Like you'll be equated to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah, I mean, both the fool, both the ksil and the Leitz will mock people who try to rebuke them. But yeah.
Just a question methodologically. Do
Yeah.
you need to say that Yishbot and that Din and Kalon are two separate things, or could you say that they're causative? One is causative of the other. So you say that the judgment is causing the disgrace.
You could say that. I feel like that's just a tougher read
Well, it works in the,
because it doesn't really have another verb in there, or I don't know. It's just like this and that, like this and that will cease. Like, I don't know. It seems like they're on the same level. I don't just intuitively, yeah.
Like how you were saying, I mean, I was just like a weaker example, but like when the Leitz is saying, you're fat or whatever.
Yeah.
Right, that's a judgment, and then that causes the disgrace. And again, I would say like more of like a personal way of viewing yourself or something. Along those lines.
So what's interesting is I would be open to an idea if they are like mutually causing each other, because then my main objection is I'm not opposed to causality between the two, just that one directional causality I think is
Well, I do think that there is if we're going with what times.
that
right,
something sparked that. Yeah.
Then I think that when people are attacked, usually a mechanism of defense is to attack the
back,
other person
right.
back.
Yeah.
Right. So
Right.
you shame me, I'm
Yeah.
gonna shame you.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that's good. And I think that this is kind of what I was saying earlier, not so much like Isaiah's approach of, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with the idea, but like, I think Yishbos Din V'Kalon is not, the second half of the pasuk is not talking about the like impact on the mitos of the people. I think it's just talking about the fighting between the people and like the attack, mutual attacks.
So
Yeah.
for categories, you're looking for categories for din and color, right?
Yeah.
Right, subjective and objective.
Okay. Subjective is colon?
is judgment.
oh judgment. Okay. Yeah.
And disgrace is objective.
Okay.
Interesting.
Now, the
Oh, that was-
judge,
yeah.
meaning like when you're like going along the lines of what I was saying before, like when you argue with someone, especially with a scoffer, they'll bring certain negative traits from you.
Yeah.
Like have you ever like at the end of the day like look back and like, wow, I really shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Like you're judging
A couple times.
you're
That's
judging
what I was
yourself.
Yeah.
You're judging yourself,
Mhm.
and you have other, and ultimately that it's like a subjective, internal and also you really don't want to go through. It's just it's not even like a natural thing. It's just like someone external, manipulated you into this certain situation. And the disgrace is like what I was saying before. It's like objectively disgraceful. It's for you to be in that situation.
Oh, I was thinking the other way.
Yeah. But like when you look back on yourself and you're like, I shouldn't have done, like that's like
That's judging yourself like in objective terms.
Oh yeah.
Oh, is that what
or I could say disgrace too. Like you're like
It's still not
following
clean.
in
It's still
your
not clean.
Right. Well, so like you can talk about din in if it's just you, like you judging yourself. Kalon, I feel like the plain shot of Kalon is shame comes from other people. People are looking down on
So
you.
can we use arguing?
Arguing? Well, let's finish up this approach. Hold on.
All right,
A lot of stuff flying right now.
You can switch it.
Yeah.
It's not clean.
Let's do this. I feel like this is one of these days where we have a lot of different possibilities, but we got the general approach thrust of the pasuk. I think there are some differences about what you said, what the havamina is, and I still like the possibility of what you're saying also about the The question is, so say what you're saying again, that you think that you can
resolve the problems with the Leitz through other means, and
Right.
it's really only through banishment.
Right.
You want, at the end of the day, you want to stop the Leitz.
Right.
I don't think any person ever is going to say, "Oh, there's a Leitz here. I don't want to do anything."
Well, no. So I think that is the split, right? Is that you either think that because the Leitz has some other good qualities, then you can somehow contain.
From the past pasukim that we
Yeah,
had, I
yeah.
don't find that the Leitz has, at least in my
Yeah.
image of the Leitz,
Yeah.
right? He's drinking. That
Right.
was one thing. He seems to be like,
He's not very productive.
He's not productive. He's
Yeah.
constantly causing problems. He's incredibly arrogant.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
There's just like a lot of
people.
Yeah.
he hates people that
Yeah.
I don't really see redeeming qualities within the Leitz.
Yeah.
Right? Which is partially why we say that the Leitz can't be fixed, is because they're like he can fix himself.
Yeah.
You can't fix
Right,
the Leitz
yeah.
because he's just so far gone.
Yeah.
Those types of people I don't really
Okay,
see
I hear
as
that.
having
Yeah.
redeeming qualities.
Right.
And so the question is, how do you deal with somebody who is doing all these things on and impacting
Yeah.
the society in
Right.
such a way?
Right.
You would think that there are different options that you have, and really the only option you have is
The
banishment.
banishment,
But it
yeah.
seems to me again, maybe I could be very influenced by the Goodfellas. But like, I'm thinking of him as like he's like an attack dog, or in the same Isaiah, like in Mario, like the chain chomps.
Yeah.
Like that's how I feel. He's just like, woo! Like you have him on a leash,
Yeah.
and eventually he goes like breaks off and
Yeah.
he goes and bites you. But like that's kind of how I'm thinking about
Yeah.
it. It's like you can control him, you can point him in a certain direction and be
Yeah.
like, yeah, go get him.
But see, and I think that is the realm in which people do relate to the Leitz like this, is that in realms where social standing is very important and you got the Leitz on your side, then that's a real asset to your own, like, your own popularity or your own dominance.
Like I was thinking about it in like a big business meeting, like you
Yeah.
have your guys like kind of like make jokes about the other people
Yeah.
there. But then, like I said before, like you laugh and then he just like boom.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. All right. So let's let this float around, and then tomorrow we will re-examine it in a fresh light and see if clear distinctions emerge. Then we'll do meforshim. Yep. Okay. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks.
now I'm compelled to make a chain chomp meme.